Sweet, 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 sweet. Hello and greetings, everyone. I am so glad to see you. We are going to be talking about how music can break programming and lift you into new dimensional frequencies with my amazing guest, Lola Ford. And I'm going to tell you about her in just a moment. And I just want to welcome you all back to our channel. If you're old or new, it doesn't matter to me. It makes me happier. The bigger, the better. And don't forget that old thing of liking, sharing, and subscribing. Guys, we even grew since last night when I went on Miracle Monday and shared with you that I want your help in growing our channel. And so why does it matter? I am Joan of Angels. Let me introduce myself properly. I am your guide to stepping into the miraculous, into remembering who you are, why you're here, your big purpose, your mission, and most of all, your guide into how to navigate these next few years that we find ourselves in. And we are definitely in a collective new energy, which is causing many of us to question what is going on, question the powers that be, and begin to look at the bigger picture. So check out my new website. You can sign up and get a free ebook there. And that's on finding your calling, your true purpose in life. Go to www.joanofangels. The good news is I'm the only Joan of Angels, so you cannot get lost finding me. Right now, we have no competition. All right, I'm in a funny mood today. I'm just so happy to see you. Well, I'm going to tell you about my guest. I met my guest, I don't know, it must have been, about 2005, actually. So many years, you do the math. And I met her when she had just released her book, I Am God. And it was a quite profound event. I felt like I was talking to this very famous music producer who was also a spiritual teacher and a spiritual guide. So Lola Ford is an American award-winning music producer, winning many Grammys, by the way. I don't want to say how many because I think it embarrasses her how great she is. But remember, we're celebrating our fantasticness on this show. So she's a songwriter and a visionary. For 35 years, Ford has created music for some of the biggest recording artists in the world. So you can think of them and name them, and that's who she's produced for. But aside from the stellar career in the music industry, Ford is also an author of 2 books on existential philosophy. And what I love the most, has applied this esoteric wisdom of sacred geometry, frequency, and vibration to creating an entirely new way to think about music as a healing modality and a betterment to mankind. So she's going to tell us all about her very ambitious project in the music industry. She says it's one of the most ambitious. Her new music label is Monatomic Music, and they're going to be applying the sacred geometric tuning to a catalog of new music for emotional and physical well-being. So, of course, I'm going to bring her on with me because this is so profound. Lola.
Hi, Joan. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to have you on the show.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun. I'm sorry to stress you out. We were all like freaking out. It was like 1 minute to go and I was still trying to log in and everybody's freaking. And I'm like, okay, no, this is how my life is. It's kind of like just surfing a train wreck for 35 years, you know?
Oh my God. Okay. Surfing a train wreck. Okay. So now we are going to be taking our spiritual wisdom from my dear friend over here, who's going to kind of tell us how she transcended this train wreck to make some of the most spiritually advanced music that I have ever heard. And I think I want to, I don't know if this will embarrass you or not, but I actually want people to sort of have a glimpse of that. And then you're going to tell us how you came to do all this. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Sounds
Okay,
great.
good. All right. So guys, I'm going to make sure I get this right. Yes. Okay. So one of the things is this, look at this. This is her channel, Monatomic Music. And by the way, I've created it. She's a channel on my Joan of Angels channel, but I want you to hear it.
What if I told you you were secretly being hypnotized by modern music? Hypnotized to feel isolated and disconnected. Hypnotized to feel insecure, unworthy, powerless, and misunderstood.
Whoa.
It is a subtle, yet devious form of hypnosis. It feeds on insecurity, fear, and laziness. And it relies on the ignorance of pop culture and the power of a catchy tune, once known to spiritual gurus as the power of a mantra.
Wow. Oh my God. I could actually listen to this forever, but then I won't get to talk to you. That, to me, is an amazing introduction to your work.
Thank you.
To your work in the 432 Hertz and in your work as a spiritual guide and leader.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
I know, right? Seeing it through my eyes has got to be exciting. So I just want to welcome you, number one. So tell us a little bit about your background, your career in music, and how you transitioned to what you do now.
Yeah, right on. I've been doing music for about 35 years now. I'm pushing 52 now. And got into the business just by happenstance. I was learning to be an airline pilot at the time, playing in a band on the weekends, and got that lucky break, and then started working my way up the ladder of engineering to recording producer and record company president. And it's been an awesome ride. You know, it's like any roller coaster has ups and downs and twists and turns, and you know, but that's what makes life thrilling, right? Yeah.
So can I ask you who's the most famous record you've produced?
Michael Jackson would be the most famous by
Oh
far.
my God. Okay.
Yeah.
I never asked you these questions.
I have to correct you though. I don't have any Grammys though. Sadly, they don't recognize me for a Grammy, but it's okay. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I feel like I'm kind of fighting the beast system a little bit, so it's okay. You know,
It's in your nature. Okay, you are a fighter, and there's nothing about you that fits into a normal tradition. And I think that's what gives you the other view of where your music's coming from. But just to have a little insider scoop. So what was it like working with Michael Jackson?
and he was incredibly normal, so that was surprising.
Oh,
no. But very, very passionate about the music, and all of the focus is on the music, and extremely particular about what he wanted. So I was a blessing to work with him, and I had several gold and platinum records before him, but like you're always chasing it. It's like I was chasing the dream for so long that even when you're doing it, you don't realize that you're still chasing it, you know. But when I hit Michael Jackson, it was like that breath of like, oh my God, I've made it. Like I've officially made it now, you know. I can stop freaking out about trying to prove something to somebody, you know.
Okay, so but yet, when did you start? Because I really appreciate this. Okay,
Yeah.
All the energy, the determination, the focus to become the top record producer in your field, one of them.
Yeah.
Which I think takes a lot. It's highly competitive, highly dark, I would imagine too, in certain ways. But
Yes.
right, so. How did you see things that made you want to turn away from that kind of music, or how did you shift your consciousness? What happened?
I was always like a good kid in my heart. Like I've always, you know, I'm sure we all feel that way, but I always felt like I was like a good kid. I never did drugs or drank until I was 30 years old. So that was that archetype of the good kid, you know. So when I got into the music business, it was shockingly cutthroat, shockingly just cutthroat is the only word I can usually really use to describe it. So that part was like really eye-opening. It was like kill or be killed kind of a thing, you know. But I've managed to just kind of like I said, surf my way through this and just somehow made it work. I can't say, I mean, the awakening didn't happen until much later in my career. I was already in this business for a good 10 years before the awakening happened. And that's the interesting part, is because I was the last person in the world searching for this. I was the most comfortable, confident atheist you ever met in your life. You know, I literally wrote a book disproving God using atheism. And I was like, I love the argument, and I had all of my rebuttals ready to go, you know. And then I tried psychedelics, and I was like, holy moly, do I have it wrong? So, and then everything in my life changed after that. I mean, everything, my whole life became devoted to it. That's how fascinated I was with it.
You mean devoted to hallucinogenics, psychedelics?
Definitely the hallucinogenics, but I clearly saw that there was something much more going on than just being high. There was definitely a connection with something that was greater than myself, far more intelligent than myself. And that was so astonishing to me from the mindset that I was in, that it took me years to really process, I was just obsessed with it, you know, so that's where this is all coming from, you know.
But that was what began. You know, what's so funny is that in 2013, I went to use plant medicine. I began my journey on plant medicine, and within a month I heard voices telling me to paint 33 angels in 30 days. So I would say that there's a definite connection, and I could feel it even through your music, I'm guessing. But let's go back. So you wrote this book on being an atheist. Love it. You had your psychedelic experiences, and you begin to communicate, I'm thinking, with a higher power, another source, or
yeah, I would say it's my higher self. And it was giving me information, like things that I knew it was coming from in me, but it was far more intellectually superior to me, and would toy with me. And I found that so fascinating, that there is this other personality in me that seems to be holding secrets and is toying me with the information. And after about, I don't know, maybe 150 of psychedelic trips, I experienced an ego death. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is, I didn't know it was called an ego death when it happened to me, but it's not by any means a pleasant experience. But it is the experience of absolutely knowing that you are the I am, that you are the light. The light is you. You are it. And everything in life that we see that is not the light is just a distortion of the light. It's still love. It's just this slightly distorted depiction of love. And the more balanced we can become in life, both in mind and thought and being and what we're listening to and what we're digesting and consuming on all levels of being, we can learn to balance that and be in touch with that pure light all of the time. And when you do that, your whole life changes. Everything about it changes for the better.
So tell us how, you know, one of the things that's been on my mind so much, which was addressed in the video I just played, the first 90 seconds, talking about how music, the pop music, programs, hypnotizes, destroys like the fabric of society in a certain way. So how did you come to that, and what in creating this music of yours now and into the 432 megahertz?
Yeah, this started a while ago. Around 10 years ago, I started getting heavily into binaural beats. And I was working with some scientists out of Miami on using binaural beats and calming music to relieve the stress and tensions of autism, at least very subtle versions of autism, and then also with ADD and ADHD. So that was the beginning of the introduction of this idea of music as a healing modality. That was a new concept to me as a music producer. And
wow.
I mean, believe me, I had heard a million different kinds of new age type of stuff, yes, it's soothing on every being, but this was stuff that was specifically frequency tuned to be a healing modality, and there was a difference.
Okay, and that's the secret, is frequency tuned to be a healing modality. Okay.
Yeah, and that is a rabbit hole into itself, because what people have to understand is that these measurements are not arbitrary. They're actually, the numbers themselves are universal. And the way that we count things versus, frequency over time, over distance, and angles, all those things are ubiquitous. They're independent of what what the number is. The numbers is what the part that's sacred is what I'm trying to get to. So when we understand that, that there is a mathematical harmony that you can create, and that math and sound and light are literally the foundations of everything we're experiencing in reality. It's literally like you're taking out of tune music and you're slightly just pitching it right so it's in tune. And it's like this magic. And when it does, you can feel it on every cell in your body.
So wait a minute. So you just said, I take out of tune music. And when you said that, what shot through me was a feeling of, oh my God, the music that I've been listening to, there's always an edge to it. Is that what you're kind of talking about? That this other music has
yes, precisely. There is definitely an edge to it, and that edge that you're experiencing, that agitation, like nails on a chalkboard, is the tuning that all music throughout the entire world is tuned to. There is a universal standard on Earth that we say is the frequency of A is 440 hertz. So everybody in the world, every instrument in the world is tuned for that. Now, in the old history, there were all kinds of different tunings. People were experimenting with all kinds of different things. But 432 is the one we were really settling on towards the end of the 18th century. As, in fact, it became famous as Verdi's A. They called it Verdi's A. It's 432 hertz. So there was something that they recognized back then that was very, very sacred about this tuning. It was very... It does something to you. It kind of gives you goosebumps in a weird way. And here's where it gets really, really interesting. We can call it a conspiracy. There's a lot of different stories about what happened. But in 1939 or 1937, I believe, Joseph Goebbels, who was a very famous propagandist and Nazi, Germany had taken over Austria. And during this time, Austria was the center of the music world. And everything was tuned to 432 hertz. Well, he came in and insisted that everything be tuned to 440 hertz. And he gave no reason of why it should be. He just declared that this is the new tuning. And because Austria was the center of the earth for music, that by 1951, it was pretty much the standard tuning throughout the world was this 440. Even further, what makes it even crazier is that 440 hertz is mathematically perfectly dissonant to what this nice, beautiful frequency of 432 is.
Oh my God. So you're saying
it's like
that they deliberately in the 40s then changed the music so that it would create dissonance. And does that music also is that part of the hypnotic programming? How does that happen with some of this music then?
Well, like the most clear way of thinking about it is think about the way the music changed right about that time, from the mid 40s to the early 50s. We went from jazz and blues, and then it went to rock and roll, right? So the music itself changed. It got less musical to a degree, and with a more emphasis on agitation, I would say.
Right.
Now, this is not to diss at all the music of the 60s and the 70s.
No.
I mean, it's all great. I grew up on that stuff. I love that stuff. Rock on. I'm all in. I'm just saying that there's a difference between McDonald's food and then some organic food that you prepare at home. There's a difference between shit and shinola, as Terence McKenna says, Oh
my God. Okay.
That's what this is. It's organic music. So think about it like that.
Well, first of all, I love your music. You have music that tunes up your chakras. You have music to sleep by. You have music to step into the miraculous by. So I don't know how you live a normal life.
I don't. If people knew how I live, they wouldn't believe. I mean, I'm literally living in the eternal woo.
We can see it. Yes, we could see it. You look like you're a part. I feel like we had to find a light bulb to shine on you to bring you out of this woo place. I mean, I've never seen anyone who lives in the woo place. But that's meant as a compliment.
You're my greatest consultant, so thank you.
All that hidden meaning. Guys, I've known Ford for a long time. It's been a really developing relationship that I hope helps both of us navigate. So let's talk about this then. You're saying that the music came out, it was dissonant, it was deliberately designed to kind of deliberately designed. So this is the conspiracy, not theory, conspiracy aspect of music, designed to change your thinking then, right?
I mean, this is just a theory, but it happens to be a theory that I kind of go, you know, my mindset kind of tends towards these things that I believe that there is some sort of aspect of humanity that is trying to control, right? To try to control the ones who are asleep, you know. So, and music would be the perfect medium to do that, because everything is programmed through sound and light.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So they're programming all the younger generations, and the older generation doesn't even know that other music unless they're. So how does your music break the spell? Let's tell us that. How does your music actually break this spell?
The way that it breaks the spell is that it puts music into alignment with the universe itself. It's in alignment with the Fibonacci. It's in alignment with the golden ratio. And we know that the golden ratio can be found in everything, right? These are mathematical patterns that repeat in a fractal formation, and they're found in everything. They're found in galaxies, they're found in the atoms, they're found in our cells and our molecules and our neurons. They're found everywhere. These ratios, the ratios I'm talking about, are like the spiral of a galaxy, the spiral of a hurricane,
Right.
you know, the distance between your forehead, the nose, and the chin, right? These are all like standard things. So what this is doing is it's making music mathematically harmonic with nature itself. And currently music is mathematically dissonant. So just imagine, you know, for the visual, it's nails on a chalkboard compared to something beautifully harmonic like Beethoven.
That actually has healing properties.
Right. Well, the healing property comes from, and I have to be, you know, I don't want to make claims, you know, that are crazy yet, but there's plenty of studies about the healing effects of 432 hertz. You don't have to take my word for it. I mean, there are literally thousands of things you can read, including medical journal studies. So this is not woo-woo stuff. They're the most serious people in the world are studying this. For any doubters out there, particularly on the mathematical side, I would recommend you check out a guy named Robert Edward Grant. This guy is the new Einstein of our time, and he is in the process of unifying light, sound, frequency, color, all into one thing that is the light of consciousness. It's love. The frequency is love itself, which is the light of consciousness. So if we take we extrapolate that further, that light of consciousness is in everything in us, and it's not just in our minds, but it's in every cell, it's in every part of us. There are these little toroidal things that Tesla would often talk about, these little micro tornadoes at the center of every little piece of our body. And this music is harmonically hitting these nodes mathematically perfect down these little toroidal fields. So, you know, what that does, we don't really know. There hasn't been enough study on it. Or maybe there has been plenty of study and it's all been kept secret. Who knows?
I have a theory.
Yeah. What is it?
I want to share with you my theory, okay? And I talked about last night. I really feel like each person on the planet, because the earth, and you can correct me with your theory, but the earth is a living, breathing being. If we could hear the sound from outside, we'd actually hear the sound of the earth. And each human here, or each being, actually has a tone that would resonate with the sound of the planet, with Earth's hum. Does that make sense? And so, but most of us are out of tune. I was given this assignment. I was on a spaceship and given this assignment, okay? I was to tune up the antenna of every human on Earth so it was aligned with heaven and to the earth. And that would be, and that each person has a special tone that you can probably get with a tuning fork. So that is my theory.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to that. We could even say that the Schumann resonance is that heartbeat that you're talking about. It's not necessarily the heartbeat of the earth, but more of like the hum of consciousness itself. You could say it's the om. Ooh. Right? And here's where it gets really, really crazy. So, you know, for how many decades that we've been measuring it, since the 50s, I think, it's been a constant 7.83 hertz. right? And it very rarely moves at all. It just stays right at 7.83 hertz, which is this really, really low tone. It's so low you can't even hear it. So just in the recent maybe month or 2 months, the Schumann resonance for the first time in recorded history is off the charts. It's shooting up 100 times 7 hertz, up to 70, 80, 90 hertz sometimes. And nobody knows why, or at least they're not saying why. So it's almost as if this is like the consciousness, the hum of consciousness, or the Earth's heartbeat. You know, there's definitely some significant stress going on right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Significant stress, you're saying then, that's coming off the Earth if the resonance is higher, but it's also coming off the people. But maybe, and then I understand too, it's not just that, like, it's not like the pandemic came from top down. It's like these are something to do with the times that we're in, and already the vibrational frequency of this transformation into this Aquarian age that sort of has precipitated some of this as well. Does that make sense?
Almost like the birth pangs, right?
Yeah, well, we are definitely in birth pangs. And that's another reason I like your music. It definitely soothes my soul.
Well, thank you.
So it is very interesting, because I actually believe that there's a tremendous amount of programming that's going on right now, that's been going on for the last, probably since the 50s or 60s.
Yeah,
it's just what's so subtle.
Yeah, if you want to go further down the conspiracy rabbit hole, this is what Montauk Project was all about. So Montauk Project is the basis conspiracy, and it's not a conspiracy. These are real things that the CIA did, right? You can look them up. But Montauk is the basis for the story of Stranger Things, where they were using this broadcasting. They were playing with different frequencies of sound to control people's minds. So they stopped doing it. I don't know what year, I think in the late 60s, or early 70s. But did they stop because they figured it out, or they perfected it, or did they stop because they gave up? Who knows, you know?
Was that okay? So two things pop in my mind. I had another aspect of the Montauk experience, which was that it was part of the Philadelphia experiment of when they made that ship disappear, and then people, what happened? Some of the sailors, when it came back, were dead, or they were embedded into the ship. But I think that was also controlled by Montauk.
It could very well be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this stuff sounds crazy, but you have to understand that the government is at any given time at least 75 years ahead of us, right? I mean, they're way ahead of our technology. So, I mean, we're on the cusp of doing some incredibly miraculous things. So they've been on this tip for quite a long time, I think,
Well, it's kind of interesting to feel that your music is a part of then breaking some of the programming that we have experienced, which has been massive, between the media, the food we eat. There's a lot of things that program us as humans: the food we eat, the media, television, and the music, just to name 4, but the chemicals in our home. So it takes a lot to even deprogram. And I'm wondering, if we listen to your music, if that's more of a fast track for us in deprogramming.
Yeah, the music industry is not going to do this. They have no motivation whatsoever to do this. In fact, it's in their best interest to keep it at 440 hertz. So I approached this idea to the labels, and they looked at me like I was an indie, like crazy. They're like, what do you want to do? This is insane. And then finally, I was grateful enough to get a couple of awesome business partners together, and we got Vetus on board and the Sugar Hill Gang. And instantly, everybody was like, yes, we get it. Organic music, we're 100% on board. So I've been able to build this monatomic music with everyone's help, and it's just kind of growing slowly, and people are just really starting to discover how amazing this is. You can go on there and listen to music for hours and hours and hours and never run out of 432 hertz music.
I love that. And guys, you can actually find that on my channels. I put you up when I discovered that I could do that. I said, well, who do I like the most on the planet and admire that I would want to talk to and have? I don't want random people. I put you on a long time ago, just so you know.
Thank you very much.
And I didn't even, and I wanted to interview you, but I decided I wanted to wait till I had a little bit larger tribe. So we have a little bit larger tribe. Guys, I want you to share him, share out, share me out. Okay. I know. Wave to our tribe. So I know you're working on a really big project now. And you want to share what that is a bit?
We're doing a documentary. Is that what you're talking about with the for 432 hertz? Yes. Now we're doing a new documentary. We've got some very, very cool heavy hitters on board to help us put this thing together. And we're just in the beginning stages of putting it together, but I really wanted to make something that was comprehensive, that was very Ancient Aliens kind of feeling, but just gently exposing people to the truth of what's going on. And to put it in perspective, like this is literally like the public becoming aware for the first time that sugar's bad for you and it's in everything. That's right. Where we are right now. I mean, this is where it's just the beginning stages of it. And it's very exciting just to be a part of it. Really fantastic.
Oh, no, it is. I feel like people are really waking up every day. Even my own family, like they're seeing new truths that they would never have seen before. And I think it's all being revealed. And the beauty is that, so like I was listening to the music I thought was interesting. I actually came across your throat chakra meditation. And since sometimes I was going to be speaking today, I was just listening to it. So I highly recommend the music on her channel. So Lola, how long has the human frequency been different? Yes, of course I recommend it. Okay, this is a great question I want you to answer. How long has the human frequency then been something we need to pay attention to?
There's a lot of people thinking about this. Some people think that this might have been the problem that we were having with the bees and the birds and the die-offs and things like that. And some people think that it may have something to do with all the electronic devices that we're using now. They started seeing increases when the handheld phones came, the wireless corded phones, and then the cell phone came and it kind of really went off the chart. But even with all of those things, it still stayed a pretty steady 7.83. There were occasional little spikes and it would raise every now and then. But what's happening now is unprecedented. Like if you could see the charts, just go to anywhere where you could see the Schumann resonance live and it will blow your mind. It looks like a crazy earthquake happening.
Do you think it's the 5G that they're spreading around the planet?
I don't know enough about that to speak intelligently. I thought for a minute that could be it, but I also think too, it may be, what if the Schumann resonance is some sort of biofeedback between the people on Earth and everyone is just really stressed out right now? Oh,
well, that means that all those other years were not stressful. But so the Schumann resonance, and I need to do more research on this too, but it can impact it impacts our energy field and our vibrational field as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm not a scientist, but it was discovered in the 60s by the guy named Schumann. And it's essentially the measurement of a vibration between, that's the magnetic resonance between the ionosphere and the Earth. And the way that turns, there's an electrical charge, and that is the Schumann resonance.
So we have an interesting comment. Will the vibrations grow as the world keeps changing? And yeah, actually the vibratory frequency of the planet is shifting even as we speak.
We're literally seeing it through the Schumann resonance. It's clear as crystal. It's undeniable as how explosive it is. Undeniable.
I love it. Guys, if you have any questions for Lola, put it in here, Lola Ford. And I want to remind you, she has 2 YouTube channels, Ford's Playground and Monatomic Music. So you can have a wonderful experience transitioning into music that doesn't grate your soul. Right? Great.
Absolutely.
I need like chalkboard.
We don't want chalkboard.
Anything else you would like us to know, Lola?
Just to just have faith. We're all going to get through this. This is, it's all going to be fine. I know everyone is really freaked out right now, and it's going to be okay. It's totally going to be okay. So
When you,
just leave you with that.
okay, wait, I'm not taking you off for a second. I want to say something. When you said that, I was thinking of the Japanese doctor, what's his name, about the water?
Fujimoto?
Yes.
Yeah.
And as you said that, I was starting to see, well, if you're playing music to water and you're having 432 hertz music, then the water is going to change. So the structure of my body would change too, because I'm made with water.
Yes.
And so I was beginning to say, oh my God. So I would imagine that this kind of music can also improve your immune system, give you a boost on COVID, give you a boost on really building up that immunity, just because it actually is changing your cell structure. Because they've shown that if you play this kind of music to water just steps into the miraculous. It's the only thing I could say. It's magnificent.
Yeah. We hear with not only our ears, but we hear with our skin too. Every part of our skin feels the music. We feel the vibrations of sound. So we're taking that in on every single level. And then of course, through sympathetic resonance, the skin vibrates and the meat underneath vibrates, and then the cells. So it just kind of goes all the way through you. There's no way it can't go through you. It all goes through you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's really, really fascinating. And this is just the beginning. Like 432 hertz is like the Fisher-Price explanation of this, but it gets very, very technical. And the deeper I go into this rabbit hole, it really just blows my mind more and more and more. I find new little tricks and new little things. And it's just like, it's so perfect that it's, again, undeniable. It just kind of falls right into this perfect track of perfection every time I get the number just right. And it's just fascinating. It's really, really fascinating,
Sweet. So we had a question asking what music influenced you.
Oh boy. Probably the Beatles the most, but I also I love classical music. I love psychedelic rock. I'm a big fan of the 80s new wave, so Depeche Mode, New Order, Erasure. So those are my bands.
I'm sure some of my people know that. All right, here's my last question, and then we're going to say goodbye. Do you ever leave your cave? I mean, where your setting looks so conducive to here.
I very rarely leave here. I'm like a hermit sometimes. I know it's terrible, but I love creating. It's like where I feel closest to God, So that's where I stay. I stay right here.
All right, love, we're going to have you on the show again. I want everyone to check her out. You will be awed. I listen to her music most nights just to put me in the mood. And I feel so talkative because we opened up my throat chakra right before the show.
Thank you so much.
It was the music that did it. All right.
And listen to Joan. She's the wisest woman I know. I trust her implicitly. This is the woman I check in. I'm like, should I do this, Joan? What should I do? She's my woman. She's my go-to girl.
All right.
So
okay. So on that note, we'll just do a little promo about what I do. And so I've known Lola for quite a long time, and I adore her. And I'm so grateful that she came on. I think it's fantastic just to tap into the things that make us feel miraculous and inspired. And so I just thank you for being a part of my show and for being with us. I love these lives where I get all your comments and feedbacks, and I go back and I look at them later. But you just bring the show alive for me. So like, subscribe, and share. And also, please, if you haven't yet, check out my new website, joanofangels.com, because for a whole bunch of reasons, but if you're on my old email list, you won't be getting emails from me. So that should be enough of a reason to go check it out. But I have some beautiful stuff on stepping into the miraculous. And you can find my Soul Awakening program there, where I help you step into who you are, why you're here, and what you're here to do. But meanwhile, I'm going to be continuing to bring inspirational people to our show and continue on with Miracle Monday. I have not forgotten 420 Spiritual Living, but I'm actually waiting for the right people to have on that show. So have a blessed and beautiful week, and I will see you all. I will definitely see you all next week. Thank you so much for being with us. All right, everyone, have a blessed and beautiful time, a day, week, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.